All right, Shalom, y'all, Bashim Al Shabakatah, y'all, Shamar Thumb, Bashim Al Shah. This precinct officer 500 Mathum Yard out of I.S.U.P.K, so out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General YAHANNA. We've been teaching the truth about blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you know what I'm saying, since 1969, teaching that they are the real Jews and the real Israelites of the Bible, you know what I'm saying, and we're going to teach this truth until, this mission is completed. You know what I mean? So in the meantime, we got some students in the class. I want to commend them for making it through to the class today. You know what I mean? She's fine. You know what I mean? She's fine. And you know what I mean? We're gonna get a couple precepts real quick. We're gonna get first we're gonna get Book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. All right, and I'm gonna read it real quick. Get the Book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9, because I've been growing up in America and to the society we in today, we will never learn the truth about the Bible. We will never learn the truth about who God really is, who the people of the Bible really truly are. We don't know, what race or nationality they come out of. You understand? So, we just gonna break all the Christianity, all the brainwashing the Christianity off of our people. You know what I mean? We're going to read this scripture right now. We're going to read the scripture. We're going to read the precept. All right. The precept, it says, Daniel 7:9. It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down and the Ancient of Days did sit. So when I say that, when they say the Ancient of Days, you know what I mean? What does that mean when they say the Ancient of Days? When they say the Ancient of Days, what does that mean? That means God. That means that's another word for God. All right, another phrase for it's talking about the Most High, Ancient of Days. Okay, so I'm gonna read on. It says, whose garment was white as snow. So he had a white garment on, right? And it also reads. It says, and the hair of his head were like the pure wool. The only people on this earth that got woolly hair is black people. You know what I mean? You can see mine's right now, you know what I mean? Wool textured hair. All right. So, this proves right here that God is a black man in spirit. You understand? He's a black man in spirit. You know what I mean? And let me see if it got some more right here. So, no, we're going to go skip that. But now we're going to go to Daniel 10:5. Daniel 10:5. This is one precept, one of the couple precepts in the Bible where it shows how Christ is a black man, how Christ is black. It even talks about skin color. You understand? This is where your pastor is never going to go. Your pastor is never going to show you any of this, right? So it says, we in the book of Daniel, chapter 10 and verse 5. It says, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked and beheld a certain man clothed in linen. Now, this is Daniel having a vision. He has a vision of, in other words, a dream. And he's seeing in his vision that, Christ, he's seeing Christ in his vision. All right. And I'm going to read on. It says some more. It says, and it said it was clothed in linen. All right. It says, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. So he had a golden girdle of Uphaz. So that he had a girdle that was made of fine gold, all pure gold. You know what I'm saying? Of Uphaz. All right. And in times past, back in the day, you know what I mean, men of war back then wore girdles. They wore girdles. That was like armor for people that was going to war. You know what I mean? They swinging an axe or swinging a sword so they could keep their stomach in. You understand? So Christ is saying Christ had one and it was made of gold. All right. Read on. It says, verse 6. His body also was like the beryl, meaning what he had on his body, his clothing that he had, his garment that he had on was green. That's what the word beryl means. It means green, right? So it says his body was like the beryl, meaning he had a green garment on all the way down, to the foot. All right. So I'll read on. It says, and his face has the appearance of lightning, meaning he had a stern, strict face, like, a face that, your pastor, he has up in his church, the white Jesus in the church, right? He has the white Jesus up in his church. And right here is nothing. This total complete opposite of what your pastor has up in the church. You know what I mean? Where, you know, in the church, it has that white boy up there portraying as Jesus Christ. When right here is about to prove to you that, you know what I mean, it's about to show us that Christ was black. All right, and it says his face was like was as what as an appearance of lightning, meaning he was a hardcore, strict, serious brother. You understand? That's what Christ was. I'm gonna read on, and it says, and his eyes as lamps of fire. His eyes was as lamps of fire, meaning his eyes was bloodshot red. You know what I mean? He liked to drink wine. You know what I mean? When brothers drink wine, you know what I mean, our eyes get red a little bit, the whites of our eyes get red. And the scriptures that also say Christ's eyes was red with wine, because he was a brother that liked to drink wine. You understand? They even accused Christ of being a wine bibber. You know what I'm saying? A glutton and a wine bibber. You know what I mean? So a wine bibber is someone that just likes to. They basically was trying to call him a drunkard. A drunkard. You know what I'm saying? They basically was trying to call him a drunkard. You know what I mean? Who was calling them that? The Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Pharisees. And who are they today? They get Christian church. They get, you know what I mean, get deacons, everybody that's up in there. You know what I mean? Because they claim to, you know God and love God, but they do nothing that God said. You understand? So I'm gonna read some more. I'll read some more. It says, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. So his arms and his feet was like in color to polished brass. You know what I mean? Polished brass. You take a penny. You know what I mean? You got yourself the color of brass. You understand? Brass is brown. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Polish is brass is brown. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna read on some more right here. I'll read some more. It says, so his arms and his feet like in color, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. And the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude, meaning his voice traveled. His voice was a strong voice. You know, he had a very strong voice that could project, you know, very loudly, all right? So from there, we can get another one. And this is just one of the many precepts that shows, you know what I mean, who we are. You know what I mean? Here's another precept for Christ being black. I'm going to go to Revelation 1 and 13. I'm going to start at verse 1. All right, so this is the book of Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ. So when the word revelation means to reveal something. I mean, it means to reveal. And, you know, this precept is about to reveal something about Christ. All right, so I'm going to go down to verse 13. And it says this. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks represents the seven churches in Asia Minor, the seven churches that was under Christ. Christ had control over. You know what I mean? And I'm going to read on some more. It says, clothed with a garment down to the foot. Now, it's saying the same thing it said in Daniel. He said he had a garment that was clothed all the way down to the foot. All right. And girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Here we go. We got a golden girdle again in this precept. All right. And verse 14, it says, his head and his hairs were white like wool. Now, his head, meaning the hairs on his head, and his hairs, meaning the hairs on his face. You know what I mean? Whiskers, you know what I mean? Old Quaker English. Yeah. And if you got a question, sis, you can just raise your hand. I'll let you. I got you. You know what I'm saying? But what you were saying, sis?
No, I'm saying, even as you described it, I haven't seen one white man who their facial hair looks like wool.
Right. You know what I mean? Because they lied on Christ, they lied on God, they lied on all the men in the Bible, you know what I mean, painting them to be white men. You know what I mean? Before the Renaissance period, all the disciples of Christ, all the apostles, everybody, the prophets were painted black. You know what I mean? But when the time of Renaissance came about, when the white man came back into power again, he, you know, whitewashed all the, you know what I mean, the paintings of Christ, Moses, God, Mary being black to white. You know what I mean? They changed it all. That's why we call the white man the devil the Bible speaks of. Because, you know, what he been doing on this earth was, you know, heinous. You know what I mean? Unaliving everybody. He's lying on everybody. He claiming that he got the truth, but the truth is, you know, he's just a deceitful lying bastard. You know what I'm saying? So that's all, you know what I mean? But we're gonna get the precept real quick. All right, so Revelations 1. I'm gonna read on right here. Revelation 1 and 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool. White like wool. So yeah, like I said, the hairs on his head was woolly and white. Hairs on his face were white, woolly and white. All right. Now, if I read on, it says this: as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. You know, there we go again. His eyes is as a flame of fire. You know, his eyes is bloodshot red. All right. I'm reading the verse 15. It says, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So imagine you take a penny and you throw that penny in a furnace. You know what I mean? A penny's already brown. You know what I mean? If you throw anything in a furnace, it's gonna be dark black. It's gonna turn dark like this. You understand? The Bible is saying that Christ is like not just, you know what I mean, a black man. He was a dark-skinned black man. He was dark. You understand? This is what they hide. They was hiding from us. Because it said right here, it says, you know what I mean, his feet was like as if they've been burned in the furnace. That's what it looked like, his feet. You know what I mean? So it's like they've been hiding this truth from us all this time, you know, that Christ. Go ahead, sis. You got it.
Can you show me where it says that?
Yeah, you got a Bible in your. I don't got an extra Bible on me right now. You have it in your phone. I could tell you the precept. I got you, sis. I'll let you know. I'll send it to you. That's fine. Oh yeah, I'll send it to you. So it's Revelations, the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13 through 15.
Revelations chapter 1, verse 13.
Right, through 15. So it's chapter 1, verses 13 through 15.
That's great.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's talking about how, you know, Christ's arms and his feet was, you know, like burnt, like they looked like they was burnt. You know what I mean? And this is what everybody's been hiding from us. The white man don't want us to know that Christ is black. He don't want us to know that we got the same blood that he has running through his veins. And what that would give black men is a dose of you know what I mean, confidence that we don't have in America today. Because all the time on the news, what we looking at on the news, every time we look on the news, they portraying us to be villains, they portraying us to be monsters, killers, unalivers, you know what I mean, the worst things you know, that ever came up on the earth. You know what I mean, the scum of the earth. You know what I mean? That's what they want us to that's basically what they want us to look like. They want us to be portrayed that way because they want everybody to be scared of us. You understand? They don't want us to really come to the knowledge of the truth, that being that, you know what I mean, we the same people that Christ is. You know what I mean? We come from the same people Christ came from. We got the same blood flowing through our veins. We come from the same bloodline. You know what I mean? We the same people. You know what I mean? But what they also don't want us to know is, you know what I mean, that Christ didn't die for everybody. That's one thing too. You know what I mean? Which your pastor failed to let us know. Which your pastor failed, you know what I mean, to let black people know. And you know what I mean, what is vital for us to know is, you know what I mean, that Christ did not die for everybody. So not only that he was black, you know what I mean, that's good. You know what I mean? Yeah, that means everything. They act like race don't mean anything. Christ being black means everything. You understand? And he didn't die for everybody, and we're gonna get it right now. We're gonna get it, we're gonna prove it. You know what I'm saying? You want to step, you good, sis? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get it right now. I'm gonna go to book of let me see. Go to book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. Well, I'm gonna start at. Let me see. I'll do Matthew 10. I'm gonna start at Matthew 10, verse 5. All right. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5. It says, "These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles." You know what I mean? So Christ is telling his disciples, don't go into the way of the Gentiles. Who's the Gentiles? Anytime you read the word Gentile in the Bible, it's either talking about our people that fell off and went and did something that we ain't supposed to do, being it's like us in America today, right? We Americans, we ain't Israelites. We supposed to be, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because we away from our homeland. But even simpler than that, someone of our people that's not keeping the commandments of God, all right, be Gentiles, right? That's in one context, but another context is a heathen people. Who are the heathens? Anybody that's not Black, Latino, or Native American, not other words, Israelites. All right. So it says right here, Christ is telling his disciples in Matthew 10 and 5, it says, "These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and in any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." This clearly showing that he sent his disciples to not go to the Samaritans. He ain't sent them to go to any Gentiles. He sent them to come to the Israelites, Black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? And another one, this is a good one right here, Matthew 5 and 17. This is a good one right here too. Oh, wait a minute. Let me show you. No. 15 and 24. Let me go. So Matthew 15 and 24. It says, "But he answered and said, I am not sent." And this is written in red. So this is Christ speaking these words out of his own mouth. All right, it says, "But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel." This is what Christ said. You know what I mean? Christians would love to pull John 3:16 all the time and say, "For God so loved the world," you know what I mean, that he gave his only begotten son to, you know what I mean, to die for everybody. That's what they think. That's what they think. That's not what the scriptures talk about. Question says, I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. So in John 3:16, who's like Christ talking to in John 3:16?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? I'm gonna tell you what the Christian church would tell you, right? Your pastor would tell you that he's talking to everybody. Your pastor would say, "No, he's speaking to everybody right here." You know what I mean? When really he's speaking to one person. In the whole third chapter of John, he's talking to one person, another Black man. He's talking to Nicodemus. You know what I mean? So this was a conversation between two Black men. You know what I mean? So talking about the community, how they can, you know what I mean? This is like a Black conversation that they was having. All right. And Nicodemus came to him at night because, you know what I mean, he knew that Christ was like a man of the Lord. He knew he was the truth. He came to him at night because he wanted to be in secret. He didn't want everybody, you know, right. He wanted to be discreet. He didn't want to let the Sadducees and Pharisees that he was with know that he coming to Christ because they were trying to kill Christ. You know what I mean? So he came to him at night, by night, and they talking, and then he eventually, you know, brings up how, you know what I mean, the John 3:16 verse. I could read it for you right now, just for time's sake. You know what I mean? We're gonna jump a little bit here and there. All right, so John, and I'm gonna tell you what John 3:16 really means. All right. So it's the book of John, chapter 3, verse 16. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." Now, you know, the church would like to make you think that he's talking about everybody here. The whosoever is not talking about everybody. We just read where it said Christ said he's only sent, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So what does this mean right here? This means that brothers from all different walks of life, you know what I mean, could get a chance to, you know, get a chance to change their life and come to this truth. Now, remember what it says right here. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Now I'm gonna read another precept right here, which Christians gonna have to help us out on, right? Because they don't know what they're talking about. All right, so it says, I got 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. All right. Let me get Psalms 90. 1 second. Psalms 90 and all right, so in Psalms 90, verse 2, before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, the earth and the world. So what Christians would like to make you think that, when you read John 3:16, is talking about the earth is getting saved, the whole earth. That means everybody walking around on planet earth is getting saved. You understand? And one thing about the word world, that the word world doesn't mean the entire planet. The word world means age or society. Age or society. You understand? It means, the age that we in now, the society we in now, and now we in the society of, we in America's society right now. You know what I mean? We in this world. You understand? And if you look at the word world, it's many worlds. You know what I mean? It's the sea world. You know what I mean? It's sea world. It's you know, uh, a brother could be living in a world of his own. You know what I mean? There's many different worlds. It's third world countries. The word world does not mean the entire earth. So people reading that scripture and they, misunderstanding what it's saying. All right. So I'm gonna go straight to John, 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Okay. And it says this. Love not the world. That's what 1 John 2 and 15 says. It says, love not the world. So what Christians will have to, answer me is, what does it mean why is it saying love not the world here? And in John 3:16, it says, for God so loved the world. You understand? Yeah. But the thing about the Bible, though, the Bible don't contradict itself. It's just the people that's reading it just don't understand it, and they shouldn't be even teaching it because they're not authorized to teach the Bible. You know what I mean? Now I'm gonna just break the witchcraft off right now. You know what I mean? When it says right here, love not the world. Remember when I said the word world means age or society? That's what it means. So if you read it like that, love not the world, talking about a society. What society is it talking about right here in 1 John, 2nd chapter? It's speaking about the society that they were living in back then. And it's the same thing today. We living in America where homosexuality is allowed here. You know what I'm saying? Child abuse is allowed here. You know what I mean? And you can't say it's not allowed because the church, a lot of people in the Christian church have a lot of scandals where they abuse children. They abuse children and they don't have anything happen to them. You know what I mean? Just recently, Puff got, indicted for that, but he indicted for something else, but he was doing a lot of other things like that he's not going to jail for that specifically. He's going to jail for something else. But we have an idea that he did those things, right? T.D. Jakes, Kirk Franklin, all these, what you say is this? R. Kelly, you know what I'm saying? All these people right here, man, is, they got issues and they, that's what's going on. And that's been a thing in the Christian church for a long time. You know what I'm saying? That's been a thing. They famous for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why we tell our brothers and sisters to get out of the church as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Kick down the doors and get the hell out, because what they doing in there is wrong. They telling our people to pay your tithes, which is nothing wrong with paying tithes. But what the hypocritical thing is about them is they tell you that the law is done away with, but they want to tell you to pay tithes, which is part of the law that they telling you is done away with. You understand? If the law is done, what's up, baby girl? What's going on? Yeah, with the law that they talking about, right? Of the Old Testament, that Moses gave to us, paying tithes is in it, and we should pay tithes. They are not the people to pay tithes to, though, the church. You understand? Because what they doing is stuffing all the money in their pockets, and they getting the nice cars. They, stuffing it in their pockets. You understand? They not doing anything with it. They got a new car to drive every week. You know what I mean? While the people directly outside the church is suffering. You know what I mean? Suffering, starving, don't have nowhere to sleep. You understand? They don't look out for the people is the point. They don't look out for the people. They just, leech off of us. All right. So when it says love not the world, it's talking about, America. Don't love this world we in today. The world where we dying every day. We're Black people and Latinos and Native Americans. We suffering from police brutality on a day-to-day basis. We suffering from drug overdose. You know what I'm saying? Suffering from all different types of things. And, this is the world we can't love. You know what I mean? We can't love this world, and we on the bottom of society, and everybody else is on top of it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna read some more. It says, neither the things that are in the world. You know what I mean? I just got finished breaking down what are some of the things in this world. Even some of the holidays that the white man like to give to us, right? Some of the holidays that the white man like to give us, which one is got Halloween coming up? You know what I mean? Which is a wicked holiday like I can't even explain. You understand? Where brothers and sisters gonna go out and they're gonna send their children out to knock on strangers' doors to get some candy that is totally safe. It's safe. They ain't got no tax and they ain't got no sharp objects in there or nothing like that. Ain't got none of that in it, right? Ain't like people, get kidnapped on Halloween. That's what the whole thing is about. People getting harmed on Halloween. That's what that night is about. You look up the Night of Hallows. That's what the whole thing derived from. You know what I mean? Where people get, harmed in, different ways than one. You know what I'm saying? Halloween is not of the Lord. It's not of the Most High. You know what I mean? But a lot of our people about to go ahead and celebrate it. You know what I mean? That's the ways of the white man. And that's one of the things that's in this world that we living in called America that we not supposed to love. When it say love not the world. You know what I mean? Love not the world, meaning say I'm not going to celebrate Halloween because the Most High never told me to celebrate Halloween. You know what I mean? Celebrating Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? The Most High never said to celebrate Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to do it. In other words, why would we want to celebrate Thanksgiving when it's a celebration of the mass genocide of the Native American Indians? You know what I mean? The genocide, the murder of the Native American Indians. Guess how many of them died you know what I mean, around the time when they was taking over? 77 million Native Americans died. And we stand and walk over their dead or over their bones today in America. They buried beneath us right now. You know what I mean? That's what happened. That's the evil that's taking place here in this planet. You know what I mean? With the white man over us. You understand? So we gotta understand we can't, love these things in this world. You know what I mean? I'm gonna read on. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. You know what I'm saying? So if you love this world, you love the things that this world has to offer, what the white man has to offer, man. The love of the Father is not in you. You know what I mean? And some of the things that you're gonna have to realize is the things that we love, that we thought we loved. You know what I mean? Down to the Halloween, down to the, you know what I mean, the holidays, the Christmas and all that. You know what I mean? Everything like that. We find out that God hates it. We find out that God hates it and he doesn't want us to celebrate it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not of the Most High. You understand? It's not of the Most High. It's not of the Lord. You know what I mean? So when you recognize that, you're like, man, maybe I should stop. You stepping out real quick? Go ahead. I got you. You know what I mean? So you stepping. Yeah. So you realize that that the Most High, you know what I mean, actually hates the holidays that's being brought about here in America. You know what I mean? So that's why it's imperative for Blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians to really understand that we can't join hand in hand with the oppression. We can't join hand in hand with the oppressor. We can't join hand in hand with, you know what I mean, these heathen that's around us that's trying to, you know, trying to make us follow in their footsteps, follow in their ways. We can never do that because the ways, you know what I mean, you know, of following them, you know what I mean, you're gonna meet your destruction. You're gonna meet your destruction. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna grab another precept. Let me see. I'll read on. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. You understand? So the love of the Father is not going to be in you as long as you loving Halloween, as long as you loving Thanksgiving, as long as you love all these things and all the, you know what I mean, proclivities of the oppressor, man, you are gonna, you know what I mean, suffer the Lord hating you. You understand? You're gonna have to, you know what I mean, realize that we can't celebrate any of these things that the oppressor gives to us, man. We're gonna have to be separate and set apart. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get the book of Leviticus 20:26 real fast. All right. Just going off what I was saying. And then I'll go back to John 3:16 when they come back. Leviticus 20:26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. You understand? We have to separate from these heathen. We got to separate from the other nations because, you know, the Most High wants it first and foremost. We have to separate from, you know what I mean? It says, and ye shall be holy unto me. The word holy means to be separate. All right. That's why, you know, we have to, you know, separate ourselves from everybody else and be joined unto one another, like the book of Zephaniah 2:1 says. All right. So I'll read on. It says, for I, the Lord, am holy and have severed you from other people. He severed us from other people because he knows, the Most High knows one thing that he knows one thing that are, you know what I mean, that we don't know. He knows one thing that we do not know. And that is, you know what I mean, when we separate from these heathen, that will be brought up, that will be, you know what I mean, better off. You know what I mean, that we will be a better nation, a better people. You understand? Let me open this door for him. All right. Yeah, man. So, all right now. I got you. There you go. So, yeah, man. So, you know what I mean? So we was just going over how, you know, in Leviticus 20:26, how the Most High wants us to be separate from other people, from the other nations. All right. He doesn't want all races of people to come together. He doesn't want everybody, you know what I mean, in a melting pot. You know what I mean? What America loves, what the white man wants us to do is all to come together. He wants all nations, all races of people to come together and be peaceful amongst one another. You know what I mean? When the Most High wants us to be separate, he wants to be set apart. He doesn't want us to be joined together with all races of people. You understand? I'm going to read real quick. It says, Leviticus 20:26, and ye shall be holy unto me. The word holy, unlike your church where they think the word holy means to be sanctified or whatever, the word holy means to be separate. That's what all the word holy means. So it says, and ye shall be holy unto me. The Most High wants black people and the Hispanics and Native Americans to be holy, you know what I mean, unto him. You know what I mean? For I, the Lord, am holy and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine. You know what I'm saying? The Most High severed the nation of Israel from these other nations. If I take a sword, if I take a dagger, and I cut this piece of my arm off, you know what I mean? It's separated from the rest of my arm. That's what the Most High did with the nation of Israel. You know what I mean? He violently, you know what I mean, separated us, you know what I mean, from these other nations, man. He don't want us to be joined together with them. You know what I mean? Because once we do that, we'll be on top of everybody. Once we do that, we'll be the nation that everybody looks at as wise, as a wise people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Real fast to piggyback off of that. It's Deuteronomy 7 and 6. It reads, For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. You know what I mean? Now, right here is speaking about Israel, is speaking about blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. The Most High said that we are, let me read it. It says, For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, a separate people. All right. And it says, The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. The Most High chose us to be his chosen people, his special people, his children. You know what I'm saying? He chose us to be a special people unto himself. You know what I mean? And it says, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So why doesn't it look like it today? You know what I mean? If you go outside, it doesn't look like black people and Latinos and Native Americans are above anybody. It looks like we on a it looks like we, you know what I mean, really we hit rock bottom. It looked like we don't have anything to show for with all this you know what I'm saying, kissing up to our slave master. We don't have anything to show for it. Our brothers still homeless. Our brothers still got nowhere to lay their head. You understand? Brothers don't have nowhere to eat. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to eat. You know what I mean? And they don't have anything to show for all the hoeing that, you know what I mean, the pastors has been doing to these politicians, to these, you know, to the white man that's above him, that pays them. You understand? It says above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You understand? So how do we become the greatest people? How do we become a nation that's above all people that are upon the face of the earth again? You just as simple as this, you know what I mean? Giving up smoking cigarettes, giving up smoking weed, giving up you know what I mean, the holidays I was just speaking about, you know what I'm saying? Every single one that we might think is cool, but it's really not. Like I mentioned Halloween already, Thanksgiving, Christmas too. It's an evil, wicked holiday. It's you know what I mean, it's a wicked holiday. None of these holidays are of the Lord. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm gonna read a precept real quick for that, for these holidays coming up. You know what I mean? The Most High is not with it, and that's why a lot of us die on these holidays. A lot of people get shot on these holidays because the Lord is not with it. You know what I mean? A lot of people, a lot of brothers, you know what I mean, get hurt on these days, and sisters get hurt because we not meant to be celebrating any of these holidays. All right. And the Most High gave us our own holidays, our high holy days. He gave us our own days, man, and that we supposed to keep, and that's way better than what the white man's gonna give us. You know what I mean? So let me grab it real quick. Let me see. These are, you know what I mean? This is a precept I'm gonna grab that's gonna show how we are not supposed to be, you know what I mean, celebrating any of these holidays that the oppressor give us. All right. Just bear with me a second. And I'm gonna grab it. Bear with me. In the book of Amos. Book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 2. Oh, wait a minute. That ain't it. Mm-hmm. Bear with me a second. Okay. Right here. Amos 5 and 21. I despise your feast days. Now, this is the Most High talking right here. This is God saying, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. You know what I'm saying? The feast days. What's the feast days? You know what I mean? Don't we cook up every time, every Thanksgiving? You know what I mean? Black families love to cook that dry turkey that they like getting from the supermarket. They like cooking up that dry turkey and all the, you know, the mac and cheese, and they have a whole feast. You know what I mean? Prepare for Thanksgiving. Go ahead, sis.
I have a question. How does he know about Thanksgiving when, like, the whole situation with Thanksgiving that happened after After Christ.
Yeah, the Most High is a living God. You know what I mean? This is a living book. You know what I mean? So just as if, you know what I mean, he knows. It was like, in other words, the transatlantic slave trade was prophesied in this Bible. You know what I mean? That happened after Christ. You understand? It's just these prophecies going to come to pass. You know what I mean? And there's nothing new under the sun. What was being done today has been done in the past. You understand? So they just redoing everything, every wicked thing they've been doing in the past, they doing today. You understand? But like I said, the transatlantic slave trade was way after Christ. That's in the Bible. Transatlantic slave trade, us being sold into slavery, that's in here. You know what I'm saying? So God, you know what I mean? When God says it, he means it. You know what I'm saying? He says he hates and he despises all the feast days. You know what I'm saying? Thanksgiving. And plus, we know it's Thanksgiving because he ain't tell us to celebrate Thanksgiving. He ain't tell us to go get a turkey and, you know what I mean, carve it up and cook it, and this, that, and the other, sacrifice a turkey and all that stuff. He didn't say that. You know what I mean? He didn't tell us to do any of that. He ain't tell us to celebrate Christmas at all. That's in the Bible too, where we can't celebrate Christmas. You know what I mean? But he says, I despise your feast days. You know what I mean? He not smelling none of that food that we cooking up. You know what I mean? He hates it. And that's why a lot of us die. A lot of houses get burned down with a lot of victims in them houses perishing with the flame and all that. Brothers get shot on these days. You understand? Because and sisters, you know what I mean, get harmed because we are not supposed to be partaking in any of these holidays. These are the white man's holidays. We should leave it. We should let the white man have his own holidays and let us do our own thing. The Most High gave us the Passover. You understand? The Most High gave us the Passover. The Passover, if you know it or not, is the celebration of the murder. So like the celebration of the unaliving, the killing of the Egyptians. The Most High killed the Egyptians for what they did to us in the past. Just how black people were enslaved here in America and still enslaved to this day. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we were we were in captivity under the Egyptians way back when, thousands and thousands of years ago in the times of Moses. We were in slavery back then, and even before the time of Moses. We were in slavery then. You know what I mean? They had the nation of Israel in bondage. You know what I mean? They worked us to death. We built all their treasure cities, just how we built everything. We built America. You know what I'm saying? The white man's doing today what ancient Egypt did back then. You understand? So we have to understand, we got our own holidays. Okay, brother stepping up. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. So we have to understand that, you know what I mean, we have to separate from, you mind shutting it for me? Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. It's a lot. Yeah, so we have to understand that we have to separate from everything, you know what I mean, taking place here in America. All right. So with that though, I'm gonna clip the class right there, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the sister for coming through. You know what I mean? So we're gonna end it right there. I think you're right there. All right. So with that, I'm gonna end the class off. Shalom. Y'all Bashim Shabakata. Y'all Shamar Thumb Bashim Shah. All right, this prison officer 500 Mathumya. We about to close the class out. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, we here at the UN Library every Tuesday from 5:30 to 7:30. You understand? And y'all make sure y'all come through if y'all want to see the class. You know what I mean? What's your question, brother?
Aren't you an Uber
No,
driver?
no, brother. But all right. So shalom, y'all. Bashim Shabakata. Y'all Shamar Thumb Bashim Shah. Prison officer 500 Mathumya. I'm at the I.S.U.P.K. Under Commander General YAHANNA. Under Commander General YAHANNA, we've been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969. Truth being that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are God's chosen people. And we're going to continue to push this truth until, our King returns. All right. So with that, shalom.